cards and fill it out, bring it up here. You get to speak. If you hear from one of the land use issues, the Sunset Avenue issue is 13A and the hotel is 13B. Okay? Right? Yes? Board members. Board members.
I want to welcome you all to the Venice Neighborhood Council, our monthly board meeting. Tonight is Tuesday, February 18th. And we're starting almost on time. It's going to be a very long meeting, so we really appreciate all of your attention. We treat each other with civility in this meeting, and we don't speak out of turn. Everyone who fills out a speaker card gets a turn to speak. Board members don't speak out of turn either. Anyway, we're happy that you're here. We will call everyone up in the order that they are, we receive these, and we never speak out of turn and interrupt people when they're speaking, whether we agree with them or not. Okay, that's sort of our ground rules, and if you can't abide by that, then we will ask you to leave the meeting. Also, if you have conversations you want to have with your neighbors, which you always do, we all love each other here, this is our community, please take them outside and talk, because we all need to listen and hear what's going on. The people on the side of the room, please take your seats. Ivan, I can hear you all the way over here. Okay. Here they come. Thank you. So many familiar faces. I'm really happy to see so many people. So, with that, I'm going to call the meeting to order, and I'm going to ask our standing-in secretary, Helen Stotler, who's filling in for Christopher, who's coming late tonight, and she will call the roll.
Linda Luggs, Mark Salzberg, Chris is not here, Hugh, Jake Hoffman, me, Matt Klein, Thomas Elliott, Ira Kozlow, Scott Cramrich, Oren Katzev, Abigail Myers, Eduardo Mania, Aaron Sullivan Ward, Marisa Solomon, Max Sloan, Cynthia Rogers, Savan Gerard, Tommy Walker, Sylvia Roth, Bud Jacobs. Yay, we have a quorum.
Meeting is called to order, and tonight's meeting is called to order in memory of Joe Gesser, who is Will Father's stepfather. Will Schubert's stepfather, excuse me. Will Schubert is very active in our barbecue committee. We'll hear about it a little bit later. And also, we're sending our sincere wishes for a speedy recovery to Land Use and Planning Committee member Sarah Dennison, who's had a stroke and is in the hospital, and to our own Gail Rogers, Ira Koslow's wife. Ira's on the board, who had surgery last night and is recovering nicely. We're passing around get well cards and a condolence card if anybody knows in the audience would like to sign it for Ira, for Gail, or for Sarah, or for Will Schubert's dad. You can kind of let us know or find the card as it's being passed down. Okay, so with that, I'm going to ask everyone, now that you're seated, to stand up. We're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. So, the flag's over there. Okay, ready, begin. I pledge allegiance. You may be seated. Thank you. Okay, we're going now to item number 3. May I have a motion, please, to approve the agenda?
I move. I second.
Aaron was first, I was second. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the agenda, please raise your hand. Okay, that seems to be unanimous. Okay, anybody opposed? No, it's unanimous. Okay. Now, with that, we go to item number 4. This is a new item on our agenda that we just started last month, officially this month. We are asking board members who've had conversations with people with items on the agenda to just report on those conversations. It's perfectly legal, we do it all the time, but in the effort of being as transparent as possible, we're a city entity, we fall under the Brown Act and the ethics rules. We want to let the stakeholders know that we are always ethical and transparent, so we've instituted a new rule. So I'm going to ask anybody on the board, I'll start on this end, if you had any conversations with any of the applicants or people in front of us. Okay, Ira, if you could report.
I had an hour meeting with the hotel people, Steve and the architect. They invited board members to come meet with them.
Thank you. Moving down the table, anybody? Okay, Abby?
I met with the developer for about an hour.
Aaron? Okay, Mark?
So I met with, or I talked on the phone with the developer and with people in opposition to the motion, just to talk about procedure.
I met with the developer about an hour. I had a phone conversation with David Hertz.
There's 2 development.
I spoke with Greg Wrights for an hour for the hotel project.
Anybody have a microphone down there? Did anyone else have anything to report? Are there microphones down there? There should be microphones. Okay, Tom?
I met with David for an hour.
Oh, you did what? David, which project? Okay. And anybody else have anything to report? Again, I say that's all perfectly legal, and it's just also perfectly legal to have people so that you know who's been speaking to people. Thank you, board, for reporting. Moving now to the approval of the outstanding board minutes. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I moved to approve the minute.
Ira, second. Eduardo. Is there any discussion? We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as written. Any additions, corrections? Anybody opposed to approving the minutes? Everybody's in favor? Okay, motion, the minutes are approved as written, unanimous. Okay, moving now to the President's report. I have a few things to report. One is that City Attorney Mike Fewer is coming to our regular board meeting on March 18th, next month. I'm asking people to send me particular issues you'd like him to address. What I normally do when we have a visiting politician that deals with issues of concern, I send them a briefing notice of things that I think people will want to know about. So just to give him a heads up, if there's something that you particularly want to ask, I can send that, and ahead of time he may just address it in his opening remarks. So you can email me at president@venicent.org if there's anything specific you want me to let him know before he comes. You'll have a chance to question him when you're here, but it's also good to prepare him so he knows what to expect if possible. Okay, that goes for the board as well, if you have anything particular you want him to say. Secondly, because there's so many development items coming down the pipe, the meeting tonight, we couldn't hear 2 of them because we would have been out of here at 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning. So we are scheduling a special board meeting, an extra board meeting on February 27th. I've confirmed with a quorum of the board that they can attend. So please mark your calendars. We're going to announce it. There are at least 2 developments that we're going to hear. One is 1414 Main Street, and the other is the Firestone Brew Pub on Washington Boulevard. And LUPAC is meeting tomorrow, and they may send us another one if we have time to schedule it, because they have like 4 or 5 for next month. So we're just sort of inundated. So mark your calendars for February 27th if you care about those issues, or even if you don't, come and listen. And also, we're going to hear about it later tonight, but in case some people leave, the board elections are May 18th. This whole board is up for re-election. Some of us are running again, and some of us are not. We want you also to think about running. We get to sit in the hot seat, but some of us are ready to move on and need new replacements, or some of you think we need to move on and want us gone. So in any case, think about running. And you're here, Ivan's going to make a report soon. Yes. There's a sign-up sheet over there. See, Lisa, raise your hand. Lisa Smith is our independent election administrator. She's going to be administering elections. If you're even thinking about it, go sign up. You can always change your mind. It's not, you can sign up and then be invited. We're having 3 recruitment events. They're going to be great, but please consider it. This is the time to step up and serve your community if you haven't. Let's see. I want to give a report on the California Public Records Act. We've had 3 requests. 2 of them have been answered. We have a response back from one, and the 3rd one hasn't gone out yet. It's being worked on with the city attorney and me. So that is in process. All 3 are in process. And then, okay, so I'm going to read. What did you read? Okay, Mark Salzberg is going to run the meeting for the hotel project because I'm going to recuse myself for conflict of interest because the developer gave some financial aid to my employer, so I'm not participating in that. But Mark is going to run that meeting, and he's going to read now the rules of how that is going to operate. So pay attention if you're planning to speak during that part of the agenda.
Okay, just want to change. I'm not going to read the rules. I printed the rules. They're on the literature table. So if you're planning to speak or participate in the discussion about the hotel project, please take a look at the discussion rules and everything will be great.
Okay, so the get well cards and the condolence cards are being passed in that way. Thank you.
My name is Peggy Fusing. I'm the senior lead officer for the Venice Beach area and Marina Del Rey for LAPD. I usually come here every month and give a report to the crime stats for the Pacific Division. Tonight I'll be giving the stats for the whole entire division, which is 26 square miles. The stats, they go from January 19th to February 15th. Homicide, we had 0 homicides. We had 5 rapes. This is division-wide, though. This isn't just for the Venice area. We had 16 robberies, 14 aggravated assaults, 75 burglaries, 47 GTAs, 96 burglaries for motor vehicle, and 161 thefts. I will tell you that the aggravated assaults are down, the burglaries are down, the GTAs and thefts from motor vehicle, but we still are getting a lot of reports of vehicles and houses and garages left open. So I just want to remind everybody, make sure you lock your property up. Don't leave anything unattended, and lock up your cars and take your GPS systems out. And that's about all I have. I know you have a big meeting tonight, so they don't big meeting.
Hi everyone, I realized we should have had slides up. But what I did come to do is to introduce our project manager. This is Deborah Ross, who's working with us and has all the specific details about the project, which we're going to share with people. And we have a date, which is March 1st at 3 p.m. at Google. And it's going to be an open public meeting to hear from the community what they think about the project. We've also opened a case file with at least with whatever website the VNC gave us, and we'll have all the material available up there for public review. In addition to that, we have an email address, which we created today. Not sure exactly who's going to be answering it, but I think I'm probably going to be on it, which is Hampton 320. That's the address of the building at google.com. So Hampton 320 at google.com. And I also wanted to give you some answers to questions, since I know there's no questions, which I've been asked. This is just the Hampton 320 space. It's really primarily an interior remodel. There's no large reconfiguration of the buildings that you see on the property. It does not include Gold's Gym. Yeah, we actually think it's pretty cool being next to Gold's Gym. Hopefully they'll want to stick around. We'll be preserving the Gary fish. Actually got a chance to talk to him. It's not a whale, it's a fish. It's on the interior of the building. The occupancy of the building is actually going to drop. The peak occupancy when Digital Domain had it will be about half when we move in. And there's two reasons. One is the type of work we do is generally much lower density, more rooms for employees, and we have a lot of common use space. One of the interesting features you let to see, again, show up on March 1st, is we're going to have a big, what we call a tech talk, which is a reconfigurable classroom / presentation space, and we use that for internal and external things. So, last year we did about 20 different events where we had public or external folks come in. We've had coding classes for kids. We've had Venice Art Walk, Silent Auction there. We've had Latinas Think Big, which is an entrepreneurial sort of meetup, and a bunch of other stuff. I can talk more outside, I guess. What else do we have? In terms of parking, you should know that 40% of our employees take alternative transportation. We actually encourage that through a caching park out. Alternative transportation to us means shuttles. We provide shuttles in a couple different areas of LA. People skateboard to work, they bike to work. I do that fairly often. They walk and they take the bus. We have bike facilities and repair tools and other stuff to help encourage that. And we have parking attendants and valets, so we can manage to do high density parking. And I think our goal for anyone who lives around there, for the space we're in now, is to make sure that people that work at Google park on site. We certainly learned from what happened up at Whole Foods. When that doesn't happen, it can impact your neighborhood in that way. So again, let us know if you see any issues. You can email hampton320google.com. Finally, on ecological issues, as a close, we're planning on doing what we did with the first building, which was LEED certified platinum. So we're really happy about that. And we continue. So I think I'm out of time. Thank you. Thank you all.
Okay, so this is 13A, which is 758 Sunset.
The motion our committee wrote was, while we recognize city planning has approved projects under the small lot subdivision ordinance, the Venice Neighborhood Council feels that the Venice Coastal Zone specific plan should trump or take precedent, meaning 2 homes or 3 with 1 being replacement affordable. Further, we request that no variance, exception, or adjustments be accepted on completely new developments. Finally, we do not feel that this project meets the unique character intent of the Venice specific plan because 4 things. 1, 70% of homes in surrounding 4 blocks are single-story and 22% are 2-story and less than 7% are similar in size. This project decreases the density percentage of affordable units in the area. 3, the lot coverage is beyond that which Venice would like to see. 4, this level of density as specified by the Venice specific plan shall require providing guest parking. The motion was made by me, seconded by Jim Murez, and was approved by our committee 4-0 with 2 abstaining. We've got our staff member and I believe the applicant here. It's too big of a crowd to find them though, so you can see.
Is Andy Lou here? So there's no presentation by the applicant? Okay. There's no presentation by the applicant. So I'm going to take it now to public comment. The motion before you is to not approve this project. So to speak in favor of the motion is to speak in favor of the LUPAC's recommendation to deny it. So it's a little confusing, but if you speak against it, that means you're for the project. If you speak for the motion, you're against the project. Okay? All right. So, all right, Manoush. Okay, Manoush. Manoush, could you just summarize it real quickly in case there's more information? But Jake sort of did, but
pretty well.
Yeah, I think Jake pretty much did it. So if there's any questions, we will ask. Okay, I'm going to call up. Okay. Okay, before I do that, there's a few people who've signed speaker cards on number 13, but we don't know if it's A or B. Karen Tenkhoff, Ossie Cohen. B. Ossie Cohen, are you A or B on 13? A or B? Can't hear. A? Okay, Esther Rauch, your name, if you could line up there, please. Sue Kaplan, Winola Smith, Jatan Valentine, Krista Schwimmer, Gogi Overoff, Laddie Williams. You can just line up, that'll save time. Yvonne Guzman, Rick Garvey, Pirko, and Eileen Pollock Erickson.
Sue Kaplan, small lot subdivision is very problematic, and nowhere is it more so than in Oakwood. So I applaud Blue Tech for making this motion, and I urge you to support it.
Jatan Valentine. First, I want to get it straight, because I want to speak on both items. And I'm totally against the one on Sunset. And I'll tell you what, I live on Vernon. One is going up almost the same size. We did not get any notice, but yet we live on Vernon. Everybody on Vernon got about Sunset. And you know what? Keep on putting up all these tall buildings. Pretty soon, we're not going to get the breeze that we get from the ocean. And there might be a lot of people here, I understand, they think they've been here a long time. But you know what? Unless you went to kindergarten, you're a first or second grade.
Was a board member of this board. So you see, we get some really great people on our board, so you have to be next. Okay.
I'm Winola Smith from Jatan Valentine's sister. I do not want on Sunset, and I do not want that hotel across the street from this school at all. And I've been here all my life, 68 years. Yeah.
Subdivisions. I live right around the corner from Brooks, where there are 8 development projects going on. Small lot subdivisions, just set a bad taste. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Laddie Williams. I want to thank Jake for his motion. We sat there while he did that. Thank you. I'd like to say please support it because it's too much. We are overgrown, overdone, overdone. Put a fork in it, let's say it's cooked, it's done. We're done with subdivision. And I once was a board member too. So please, enough. Support UPEC. I can support them on this, but not on the hotel, but at least on this. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Krista Schwimmer, and I wasn't going to speak, but I'm glad I am because I was confused by the for and against. I think I put the wrong thing. I am for the motion, but I put against the project, so it was the first time I've really done this. I'm a photographer as a hobby, and I go around Venice all the time taking pictures, and I just noticed all these developments all of a sudden. I felt like I'd been asleep or something, because everywhere you went, they had all these really big buildings that just don't fit with the character of Venice. And the speed in which this is happening, and that we're not really thinking about it, and then just the actual architectural design of this one, I totally agree with Blue Pack. I think they did a great job with the motion, and I really support the motion. I hope you guys do too.
Another former board member, Yvonne Guzman. Welcome back.
Hi, board. Hello, everyone. It's so beautiful to see so many Venetians here. Thank you for being here. Well, I definitely do not support
small lot subdivisions. Small lot subdivisions are ruining the quality of life in Venice. Where are the trees? Where are the trees? Where are the birds? Where's every picking the land? You know, it's like we have too much concrete and steel. Is that what Venice is going to be? I don't think that's what Venice is about. The quality of life. So please listen to the people. They're here. They're speaking to you. You know, do what we're supposed to be doing. So please support Dave Abbott.
Thank you. That's a first. This is a no-brainer. Okay. All those. This has never happened before. All right. Here's the thing. Raise your hand if you are in favor of this motion. Raise them high. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. All right, well that concludes item 13A. Now we're on 13B, I think most of you are here for. If you remember at the beginning of the meeting, I said that I sadly, as I'm not happy about, but I must recuse myself for ethical reasons, conflict of interest, because Dan Abrams is a contributor of Venice Community Housing where I work part-time. So based on our ethical rules, I am not, I'm precluded from having anything to do with this decision. So I'm going to leave the room at this time and leave you to, and good luck. I'm turning the mic over to Mark Salzberg, our Vice President. Thank you.
So is there anybody else that needs to recuse themselves?
I'm recusing myself because I am on the board of Venice Community Housing, which Dan Abrams, the developer, is giving us a contribution to. So, thank you.
Okay, so we're going to get started. You know, this is terrific. I hope it's terrific. We're about 45 minutes ahead of schedule. So I think that's great. We're going to have some extra time, and I would like to spend, and I'm going to ask the board what they want to do here. I would like to take an extra 10 or 15 minutes on public comment, so we can hear more people from the public on the hotel. And I'd like to give the board an extra 10 or 15 minutes at the end. Right now, we only have about 20 minutes to 25 minutes, and I know this is a pretty contentious project. So if you're all okay with that, then I would adjust the schedule that way. Can I see just a show of hands? Yeah, I'm going to add more time. No. Just public comment, which is kind of cut short, and the board, which is also cut short. The entire thing is scheduled for 1 hour and 45 minutes. So we would be giving an extra half an hour, and we'd still get out of here 15 minutes earlier. We'd get out of here at 10:30. You guys okay with that? Okay. So that's what we're going to do. So the first thing we've got on the agenda. First of all, we're going to cut off speaker cards. So if you wanted to speak on this, and you haven't turned in a card yet, unfortunately, too late. We're done with ours. Okay. So we have a few discrepancies on the speaker cards, and I'll deal with these in a little bit. So I'd like to introduce Jake Kaufman to please. Jake, can you make the motion?
Is there a chance I can get a second at not reading the whole 3 pages and just summarizing it?
Sure. I think you've all got copies, right? Have you seen it? Okay.
Be happy to summarize it a little bit, though.
Yeah, please do.
So the project was presented to us over a year ago. Yep. So there were a number of community outreach meetings and a number of LUPAC meetings. It started off much larger than it is right now. The current project that's being presented to the community is not asking for a variance or exception. It meets the height requirement of the specific plan. There's certainly some things that a lot of people hear, so there's certainly some concerns to it. What our committee worked to do was craft a motion that explains the project and puts a number of conditions to it. So I believe John Reed, our staff member, is here. Again, it's too hard to see everybody for me. But anyhow, I think what we want to do is have the applicant present first what they're proposing to do. Give everybody a chance to hear from, I guess, from the horse's mouth what they're looking to do, and then we'll open up to comments. But I think that the motion is, although long, it's a big project. We tried to incorporate and explain the history and what we felt was the right thing to do.
Okay, thank you, Jake. Is the developer here? Who's representing the developer? Great. You want to come on up to the microphone?
Thank you. So, hi board members and everyone. I'm Dan Abrams. I own the property across the street where we're proposing the hotel. I'm going to go fast because I want to get it over to our architect, David Hertz, who has a lot of information to go through. My development team, Greg Wright and Steve Edwards, will help David and me answer questions later. I'm not a developer. I've never done anything like this before. I've been an entrepreneur, film producer. This is the one thing that I've been working on for the last couple of years. I've lived in Venice for a little over 10 years now, and I currently live just a couple blocks away over on Westminster. My office has been above Primitivo the entire time that I've lived in Venice. I had an amazing opportunity in 2007 to buy the bulk of the property that we're talking about tonight, and I couldn't pass it up. I take great pride in the property and in our community. I have a large group of friends here. I support a number of local causes, including this school. There's a Nature Bridge banner outside on the fence, and I'd like to tell you about it later if you care to ask. But I live and work in this community. I care a lot about it. Our inspiration for this hotel is completely about Venice and about creating community. Our aspiration is that it's a vibrant, welcoming place that can benefit the community in many ways well into the future. Envision a place that collaborates with Venice artists and craftspeople, showcasing the creativity that's right here throughout Venice. I want it to be a place that welcomes the community, gives back to the community, a place that's good to its employees, is a good neighbor, and an exemplary business in terms of social and environmental responsibility. So with that brief intro, thank you to all the supporters who came out tonight, and thank you to those who've expressed your concerns to us over the course of this process. It's made the project better. And thank you, board, for your service and for giving us the opportunity to share the details of the hotel with you, and I'll turn it over to David.
Thank you, Dan. I'm David Hertz, architect. My great-grandmother lived here in the 20s. Spent a lot of time here in the 60s, been here 37 years, raised 3 kids. Had a first studio in '83 on West Washington, and I restored a 1922 building where my office is. On market like you, I love this community, and when I first heard about this project, being invited to compete to design it, I was concerned. I knew the developers as young guys that were entrepreneurial, community-oriented, green building. I met Dan, and the first thing that Dan said was I was in the garden with Dr. Jerry, and he was talking about selling the property. And he said, oh my God, what if a developer buys this piece of property, tears down Venice Place, Joe's, the garden, the Melaleuca tree, and he bought it to preserve it. And the whole project from day one has been, let's preserve the character of Abbot Kinney. Let's work with the courtyard. We've done this through 18 months with community meetings. To date, over 12 community meetings, 9 LUPEC meetings. This has been a long process. We've flexed with the community. We've attained an overwhelming support from LUPEC, 6-1, in support of this project, based on facts. there's been countless small meetings, but ultimately it's led to multiple iterations of the design and thoughtful revisions. This is from LUPEC, recommends approval, and before us tonight is a culmination of 18 months and many community meetings to adopt the mandatory finding that shows this project is fully in compliance with the Venice specific plan. Now, these are just facts and I'll go quickly, but the floor area complies with the Venice specific plan, density, height, mixed use project definition, confirmed by the city, verified by land use attorneys, consistent with multiple code definitions, and allows for lot consolidation. Now, what's important to know is that this is the lot. It was purchased as 3 parcels. This is the railroad right-of-way. It's 1 block long. It's just like the adjacent 1 block long properties. If this were developed as 1 lot, which it could be, you would have a development of that 1 block. Dan then acquired these other 2 parcels, and that's the extent of it. Here's the hotel details: 67 rooms, 18 following in 5 to 8 years on Westminster. If the hotel is successful, 85 rooms equates to about 108 people, because at 85% occupancy, which is generous, the average stay is 2.5 days. It's 45 new people per day. It's just not that extreme in terms of guests. There's 24 to 30 full-time hotel employees. That doesn't count all the employees that would be employed locally in support of the hotel off-site, but only 16 to 20 at one time in the middle of the day. Key facts: traffic vehicular circulation. According to FAT, DOT, Department of Transportation, no impact. Parking is over the Venice specific plan code. Complies with height, character, mass, and scale we'll talk about. Now, Venice is comprised of 5.7% commercial, and this is the site. This is a community commercial zone. The land use and master plan, a local coastal program, calls out overnight visitor serving uses such as hotels as preferred use. Let's put the commercial where the commercial frontage is. Let's not have death by paper cut by individual developments. Let's concentrate our development and create a vital urban core. Fantastic statistic. It's just amazing. We have 401 rooms at Venice Beach with 16 million visitors. Santa Monica has 7,000 rooms with less than half of that. Adding 85 rooms to this is not going to make Venice, Santa Monica, or Marina del Rey. We're not just a bedroom community. The public trust is our oceanfront. There's 16 million visitors. Why not have some visitor serving that come to Venice, that instead of leaving tax dollars and jobs, and then going to Santa Monica and driving here and parking in our neighborhood? If they park at the hotel, they'll want to be encouraged to walk. This is the site. This is phase 2. We're keeping the buildings. What I love are the alleyways, discovering the courtyard, Dr. Jerry's garden, expanding it. 42% of the whole ground floor is open. All of these buildings are preserved. The whole middle is open and porous to the community to walk through. Phase 2 encourages a corner that interacts with keeping Abbott Kinney active and vital. And the bulk of the mass is along the edge of electric. 2 stories, underground parking, automated. There's no coffee shop. There's a coffee bar within the lobby, a small spa. It's all ancillary to the hotel use. It's not a Starbucks. There's rooms on the 2nd floor and 3rd floor. Their roof deck is all for harvesting solar, electricity. It's going to be a state-of-the-art green building. We've already have, as a tenant on the property, the Cook's Garden. We're going to be expanding that and having grown produce for the restaurants and for the community. My wife and I share a box there. We've been proactive with safety and security. We're in the process of performing a detailed pedestrian study. Last week we were here with Principal Brown. Dan's been a very good neighbor with the school. We're looking at safe routes to school. Most of the crosswalks are around the property. We have timed loading zone and agreed to all the conditions. Traffic. We inherited a community that was based on canals that was turned into streets. Some of them are narrow. The hotel will have less impact than any possible use. I don't think anyone here realizes that piece of parking lot is going to remain empty forever. The question for our community is, who do we want to develop it? Do we want locals to develop it who are concerned, and how do we develop it in the least impact for our community? And that's what a hotel does. The project increases vehicle trips by less than 1% at peak hours. What is that? 25 cars in the morning, 41 in the evening. This does not have significant impact according to the DOT. We've increased the size of loading. We've hired consultants. They took 3 to 4 additional truck deliveries per week. The issue is that this is a unified use. If this was 8 separate little lots developed, there would not be 1 square inch left of open space. We all know that. There's no way that makes economic sense for anyone to buy this property to do it. And the other thing is, these conditions, they could apply to one owner. You can have time delivery. You can agree to conditions. You can consolidate. 8 individual owners, it's going to be 8 trash trucks and 8 delivery trucks. Here's a traffic count. Retail, restaurant, office, mixed use, 3 times what a hotel is in terms of traffic study. An office, 2.25. I'm sure Google, I'm sure a lot of internet companies will love an office. It probably makes a lot more financial sense. But a hotel is for the community. 654, you heard, it sounds like a lot of cars. And it is, but over 24 hours, it's 0.45 cars per minute. That's 1 car every 2 minutes above existing. And during rush hour, when it counts, for every 90 seconds, we have 1 car. In the morning, 1 car every 2 minutes. The issue is with the traffic study, it double counts the restaurants and the spa. It's generic for all of LA. It doesn't take into account the pedestrian nature that locals and people will stay here and not drive. And most hotels have conference rooms and meeting halls, and this doesn't. This is the definition of a traffic trip, 1 through. It's double counted as soon as you stop. We have the same valet. We have an overflow of valet for our parking. We've looked at loading. There is, in fact, the code specifically wants to limit curb cuts so we don't lose our street parking and does not want to encourage a loading dock that's backing out into traffic. The code doesn't even require a loading space on the property, but we know that trucks are problematic. As it is now, trucks block Broadway. We're widening Broadway as well as Westminster, adding trucks so that they're out of the lane of traffic. Parking is an issue in Venice too. We're inheriting a huge problem of so many businesses and restaurants that have no parking, and here we are over-parking it. It exceeds the code by 20 spaces. We're parking the existing restaurant, not even taking advantage of grandfathering. All of these things. The parking system is 3 cars per minute. It's faster than valet running to try to find our cars parked in front of your house. 12 to 15 cars are queued up. So this is the project. The height complies. This is a diagram of the front. This black line is what certainly anyone would build by right, without even a hearing, if they want to. 35 of the slope roof and 40 feet to the top. And this is what we're doing. This is what's allowed. This is what we're doing. Character, mass, and scale. I served in the first BNC Land Use and Planning Committee, and I was invited recently and proud to serve on the Character, Mass, and Scale Subcommittee. These are subjective and complex issues. I've turned down and Loop had a number of projects that I didn't see fit. The issue is, and according to LUPEC staff, is it sensitive and respectful of the current architecture? Along at electric. Our neighbors are not opposed to the project, and in fact have been quite supportive because they realize that another use could have far more impact. The blue buildings are 3 stories on Abbott Kinney. Here's our project. We're completing an edge. This is a void. I'm sure everyone would like it to remain a void. It won't. And the question is, this edge actually creates an acoustical buffer to the community. How we treat that edge is important. This is how we're developing it. Here is the building on the adjacent corner, 3 lots, 35 feet. We're much, much smaller. You all know the context. These are the buildings all around. Here is our proposed Westminster elevation. This is the adjacent corner, 3 stories, 35 feet. We're well under that in terms of character. And here's our corner versus the adjacent corner. There's an edge condition. What we're not doing, and what could be done with condo, is taking away all the street parking and putting driveways. We have an elevation that's over 50% of the ground floor is open all the way through to the garden, to the Melaleuca tree, to get good visibility for pedestrians. We're adding a sidewalk, working on a facade that's based on the Venice vernacular. This building, and I have a huge burden to this community and a responsibility to make this building work. If I'm successful, and I will be in making this design, it'll look like it's always been here.
Think I go down to Venice bury my head down in the sand. Cause the little girl that I'm loving got another man. Well, now come on, baby, darling, don't you wanna go? Well, now come on, baby, darling, don't you wanna go?